Coogs house. We've heard all off season about how revamped this offense is for the Houston Cougars, and they need to prove it by scoring 50 this Thursday.
You are Locked On Cougs, your daily podcast on the Houston Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are back with a bonus edition of Locked On Cougs this game day Monday as we head into the weekend. I'm your host, Parker Ainsworth, host of Locked On Cougs, breaking down about the Houston Cougars each and every day. Thank you for joining us, whether you're a Houston fan or just a hater who came to stop by. If you want to join the conversation but don't know what to say, tell us in the comments down below what you put on top of your pizza. Today's show is brought to you by everybody's over at FanDuel. Even the bonus episode today is brought to you by everybody's over at FanDuel because FanDuel Futures Day is the 26th. We'll get more on that fun later because Houston opens with an FCS opponent for the first time since 2019, and I think they need to score 50 points this Thursday. I also want to talk a little bit about this bonus episode in terms of looking at the depth chart that's going to come out later on Monday. So we'll get into that in a second. But first, 50, big number. Frankly, it's a big number for this Houston Cougar program for a lot of reasons. Last season, you broke 20 just 3 times. One of those was 33 against Rice, and then 30 against TCU and 24 against Kansas State. You didn't break 20 a whole lot for what it's worth. That's 3 times you broke 20 as well. More than 20, I should say, as well. It's not great. Not great. 2023, Dana Horkinson's last year, you broke 40 twice against Rice. You lost that one with Dana. And then West Virginia in the Hail Mary attempt that got you over that 40-point mark in the first place. Literally took to the last second in that one. 2022, you broke 44 times. You were playing an American Athletic Conference schedule. Temple, USF, ECU, and the 77-63 loss to SMU. Half your games in 2021 were over 40 points, but that was a really easy, watered-down schedule in 2021. A good football team too, but not the best showing in terms of opponents. 2020, weird COVID year, you only scored at 2 out of the 8 games that season. Only broke the 40-point mark 2 of the 8 games that season. 2019, you also only broke it twice. Only broke 40 twice. That was the last time you played an FCS team as well as Prairie View A&M, and you scored 37 against your FCS team last time you played it. Look, in Major Apple Whites last year, you broke 40 in 10 out of 13 games, 70 on Texas Southern and the FCS matchup that year, 57 on a ranked South Florida team, nothing to sneeze at. But Houston, as a legacy, has been built on offense and scoring lots of points and doing it in flashy fashion and having fun celebrating touchdowns. Look, I understand defensive football, and I have loved last year's team and last year's defense as much as the next guy. Don't get me wrong. Winning against TCU, holding them to 19, winning against Kansas State, and those were fun games. Defensive games can be really fun, but this program and great defensive players who come through this program, I should say, Peyton Turner, Ed Oliver, like the NFL, Nelson Caesar looks like he's gonna make a roster in Buffalo. Like NFL caliber defensive players have played at Houston, even on those offensive teams. I think there's a couple on the team right now, right? I say that to say, when you go talk to someone who knows very little about Houston Cougar football, what they think of is high-scoring offense. We at Locked On Cougs did the whole poll, and you all told us that Case Keenum is the best Cougar of the last 25 years, right? Greg Ward, quarterback of the 2015-16 teams, made the top 5. Electric offenses there as well. History tells you at the forefront of the run and shoot with Coach Party and Coach Jenkins, the veer with Coach Yeoman. This is a program that historically is founded in scoring points, right? Frankly, so much that it became a punchline. Like it was, they put all these points, but they don't play anybody when they're in Conference USA, right? And then they go beat Penn State, they go beat Tech. It's going, wait a second, they're actually not bad, right? Like that was kind of the thing. And now in 2025. Year 2 under Willie Fritz. You have a new offensive coordinator in Slade Nagle. You revamped the offense. You pulled in a bunch of new offensive linemen. You brought in a new running back from across town that's pretty good in Dean Connors. You got a new quarterback. He was a 5-star quarterback at a high school. Went to A&M. Things didn't work out because a couple injuries, and now he's back home playing for Houston. A lot of star-studded wideouts, too, coming in. Kobe Young was a 4-star at a high school in Louisiana. You got a bunch of big-time offensive recruits coming in class 2026. You're establishing a new identity. This is a new identity. The Fritz Cougars are new. And I know he's a defensive-minded head coach. I don't mean to say that they're going to play bad defense just because they score a lot of points. That's bogus. But the offense needs to score. And needs to score a lot. Frankly, it's disheartening to go back and look at the last time this team played an FCS opponent in 2019 and just see that 37. Like that's not good enough. It's just not good enough. And look, maybe this feels too far down the line, and maybe this feels too futuristic. People saying like Parker, they won 4 games last year. Why are you talking about the college football playoff? In that college football playoff room, yes, they have metrics in front of them. Yes, they have a bunch of stats, analytics, etc. This is still a beauty pageant. Outside of the conference winners, teams are getting picked. They're just getting picked. And let's say you get to Arlington, Big 12 championship game, and something goes wrong and you lose. If you've scored 50 points in a bunch of games, you blew the doors off the teams you're supposed to blow the doors off of, you took care of business like you should. Then, I would point out that TV appeal, that like sex appeal of putting a team on TV goes up. Suddenly, people want to watch the Conor Wegman show because it's putting up 50 points a game, right? People want to watch the dynamic offense, or I guess this would be more like what they did at Tulane with Slade Nagle. So it'd be a lot of 12 personnel and stuff like that. But the people want to watch that happen. Frankly, we saw it with SMU a year ago, where that BYU had beaten them head to head and had its own strong resume and lost out on being able to play in the Big 12 title game on a tiebreaker. That did not matter to voters because BYU did not play the sexy football that SMU did, and SMU lost their conference championship game in a close one, right? They got to go in. Now, we can talk ad nauseum about why BYU should have gone in and all of that, but ultimately, it came down to people picking, and the people picking picked SMU, right? If you're the team scoring all the points, having fun, putting a good product on TV, because this is still a TV product that benefits you. And frankly, building that legacy this year, even if you think playing the college football playoff is too far gone a dream for this season, the people at Arizona State last year would have told you that in August of 2024 as well, but that's not here nor there. The people picking this in 2026, 7, 8, 9, right? Those people are going to need a first impression of the Slade Nagle offense. The new Fritz has his own guys involved everywhere. The new Fritz Houston Cougars. If that impression is a team that scores a lot of points and plays good defense, because Fritz is going to have the good defense part, I think that's what you need to have. And I think that this is the team to do it. Now, speaking of guys to do it, the depth chart comes out Monday. We'll talk more about what to look at on that as well here at Locked On Cougs. But first, today's show is brought to you, as he said, by our buddies over at FanDuel, because August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions, whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 has even kicked off. This is your moment to take a flyer on CJ Stroud MVP, or tell everyone that the Texans are going to win the AFC South, or parlay all of it to work together. Visit FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. Parker Ainsworth, Locked On Cougs here. And while we're talking about game week and putting up a bunch of points, I got eyes on certain things on the depth chart this week. Now, the biggest question I've got on the depth chart is that offensive line. I think we've been hearing Ibaselli's name a lot more as of late. Jason Brooks appears to be a stalwart at left guard. I think Matt Wyckoff plays somewhere, hearing center, hearing right guard. He's going to play somewhere. Depending on where that is, you could hear Demetrius Hunter, Pancake, coming back to play center. One of the highest ranked recruits come through the program. It may finally be his turn. He started last year too, but last year was a work in progress. And he was ranked a young starter on that team. Agnello, being the multi-versatile kind of Swiss Army knife, came over from New Mexico. He's definitely an interior lineman to me. We'll see which of those guys. Dalton Merriman appears at the right tackle spot locked down. We also know at 6'9", some of those like hips and stuff like that may be. We should see who's where in this lineup. And frankly, I am excited to see who they put in where on that offensive line. And in a similar vein, I think the wide receivers are kind of not quite the opposite problem, but like there's so many. It's like who's on first with those wide receivers. Stephon Boogie Johnson will start at X or Z. I kind of think it's Z. I think Mekhi Muse will be in the slot. I think Kobe Young will probably be at X. But you've also heard Amari Thomas's name a lot, Harvey Broussard's name a lot. Devin Williams, the guy that made plays down the stretch last year, he'll make plays again this year. Where's each of those guys on the depth chart? Who fits in which group? And frankly, it'll be interesting to see because I think the first couple weeks you're going to have a heavy rotation of guys where they don't like settle into a starting spot. Like the starter and the second team guy may play the same amount of reps in the course of a game the first 2 weeks. And I think that'll be interesting to see, like, okay, but like who's got the ball thrown their way? Well, that's a game time decision, but who starts week one will be interesting. Sidebar, I think that the running back conversation is a very similar thing. I think the running back room is incredible. You have 4 very different, very talented guys in Stacey Sneed, the veteran, Jamarian Fat Burnett, the big guy, Rashawn Sanford, a lot of wiggle, and then Dean Connors, a little bit do it all. I don't know who's going to start, whether it's Dean Connors or Rashawn Sanford. I kind of think it's one of those 2 guys. I know that it matters who starts, but I'm intrigued to see what they list. On the defensive side, I want to know more about these DBs and who they got playing in which spots. I think Latrell McCutcheon is probably the slotted starter or boundary corner. I guess it could be field corner, but I think it's going to be boundary corner because of his size. I don't know that I have a for sure in-pin starter at the other spots. I think Mark Stampley's going to play a lot. I think Will James is going to play a lot. I don't necessarily know who Willie thinks is the starter at those other spots, or who Coach Austin Armstrong thinks the starter at the other spots. And again, it probably doesn't matter any of these starters. The only one we've heard for sure is Connor Wigman, which is funny to me because, like, yeah, he transferred. He wouldn't come here. Yeah, of course, right? Of course. But with the game being this Thursday, it's not a Big 12 game. I should point out, for Big 12 games, if you missed it, they're going to give out injury reports and stuff like that leading into the game 3 days, 2 days, 1 day, 90 minutes prior, right? So we'll have a really good idea of who's healthy and available and who's playing. This is kind of the closest we get to that in a non-conference game. And I am excited to see it. Frankly, it means we're in football season, game week, right? But also I got questions, and it's the first one. So who the starters are is much more up in the air. I think these 2 weeks and then you get to Colorado, like that's going to be where a lot of these questions unfold, right? So that's where I'm at on it. Tell us in the comments down below what you're looking for. What are you looking for when the depth chart comes out in the middle of the day on Monday for the Wicked Fritz press conference? Breaking that down and more for Tuesday's episode. So stay tuned and stay subscribed to Locked On Coogs. All kinds of content coming this week. It's game week. We're excited about it over here. So we're putting out a lot of stuff your way. Speaking of a lot of stuff, yesterday's trivia question was how many conference titles the University of Houston won in football in the program's history. There was 11. Today's trivia question for tomorrow, so we'll answer this one tomorrow, is you last played an FCS school in 2019. We mentioned that was Prairie View A&M, and you scored 37 points. In that game in 2019, who was your leading scorer? The leading scorer. Tell us in the comments down below. Bonus credit if you know what they scored, how many they scored. Anyway, today's show is Locked On Cougs, brought to you Locked On Podcast. That means your team every day. Go Cougs.